Hello everyone, my name is Samrin. I'm currently pursuing my Bachelor of Technology in Computer Science Engineering, and in this video I'm going to explain what is closure and what are promises, callbacks, sync and await, and I'm going to implement a to-do list using closure. And now what is closure? What is a closure in JavaScript? A closure is a function that remembers its lexical scope even when the function is executed outside that scope. In other words, a closure allows a function to access variables from its outer function even after the outer function has finished its executing. In other words, we can say that a closure occurs when a function is defined within another function and it's captured the environment of the other function. Lexical scoping means it is nothing but the inner function has an access to variables that are declared in its outer scope. And closures are a powerful feature of JavaScript, allowing for the creation of private variables and functions among other things. And now here is the simple implementation of closure, and it is a simple JavaScript code. Now what does this code do? The multiplier function is a higher order function that returns another function in it. It takes one parameter, factor, and when you call it, it returns a new function that multiplies any given number by that factor. Now, when the return function is executed, it still remembers the factor from the outer scope. This is what makes it a closure. Even though the multiplier function has finished its executing, the inner function still has access to that factor. Now here I created two more functions called double and triple. Here the multiplier function is called with a factor 2. This call returns a new function that multiplies any number by 2. This function is stored in double variable, and similarly in triple variable also. When you call multiplier of 3, a new function is returned that multiplies any number by 3. This function is stored in the triple variable, and both double and the triple variables are now functions, but they each remember their respective factors. So that's how closure works. And now here this call, and I write these functions, right? This calls the double function with the argument 5. The double function when remember which the double function here the double function remembers the factor is equal to 2 from the time it was created, right? So it multiplies this 5 with the factor which it is remembered from the multiplier function. So this equals to 10. The result is logged to the console now. Next, similarly with the triple of 4 also. This functions with argument 4. The triple function which remembers its factor as 3 from its creation, it multiplies this 4 with the factor 3 which equals to 12. Now the double and similarly with the double 7 also. This calls the double function again but with the argument 7, and it multiplies 7 with the 2 which equals to 14, and the output will be 10 and 8, 10, 12 and 14. Now at last finally we can say that closure is the key concept. Here is the double and the triple or closures. They remember the factor value even though the multiplier function has already executed. The factor value is captured when you call the multiplier of 2 and multiplier of 2 and multiplier of 3, and the inner function continues to have access to it whenever it is invoked. The multiplier function acting as a function factory. It generates and returns a new function each time when we call it with a customized behavior. Based on this factor, we provide multiplying by 2 and 3, etc. This makes it very reusable because you can create different multiplier functions dynamically. And the inner function has access to the factor. access to the factor variable from the outer multiplier function because of lexical scoping. In JavaScript, functions are lexically scoped, meaning that a function can access variables that are declared in the same scope or in outer scope. And finally, this code demonstrates how closure works in JavaScript. By using closures, we are able to create functions that remember and retain access to a value from the scope where they were defined. The concept of closures allow us to have a flexible and powerful way to create functions with a persistent state. Now I'm going to explain callbacks. A callback is a function that is passed as an argument to another function to be called back at a later time after some operation is completed its execution. Callbacks are commonly used in asynchronous programming to handle tasks that take time to complete, such as network requests or set timeout operations, etc. The purpose of using this callback is to ensure that the code is executed in a particular sequence when some other tasks take longer time to execute or to complete its execution than the others. When and where do we use callbacks? Generally, we use callbacks in asynchronous operations, event handling, and in custom logic also. In asynchronous operations, callbacks are primarily used for handling asynchronous operations in JavaScript, like fetching data from an API or performing other tasks. And in event handling, we use callbacks in event-driven programming. Callbacks are used to handle events such as user clicks or form submissions and etc. And in custom logic, they are used when we want to allow a function to execute custom logic by the user or a developer. And here is a simple code. It is a simple JavaScript code. Here, fetchData functions takes a single argument, that is callback, which is expected to be a function. It simulates fetching data with the delay time that is set timeout function. And after 2 seconds, here I set the time for delay time for about 2 seconds. After 2 seconds, it generates the data, that is data received, and invokes the callback function passing the data to it. Here, process data of data. It is a function. It acts as a callback to this fetch data function. It takes the data fetched by the fetch data as an argument and logs it. And coming to this fetch data function, when we invoke this function, it passes the process data function as the callback to fetch data. After 2 seconds, the fetch data calls process data, passing data received as its argument, and it displays the output in our terminal. In simple words, we can say that the fetch data is called with a process data as its call function, as its callback. A 2 seconds timer starts because we set time out. Here we use set timeout function, and now after that, here it processes the data and it logs the messages processing, and after that the data received message will be displayed in our console. Now let us execute this code. So when we execute this code, first it displays processing as it, and after 2 seconds it displays data received message. So here is the output of this code. First it executes this process data function, and after 2 seconds it executes the fetch data, because here we set time delay as 2 seconds. So it waits for 2 seconds, and within that 2 seconds the process data function will be executed. Now I am going to explain what are promises. A promise in the JavaScript is nothing but an object that represents an eventual completion or a failure of an asynchronous operation and its resulting value. It acts as a placeholder for a result of a task that might not have completed it. Promises provide a more readable and maintainable way to handle asynchronous code compared to callbacks. And now, in promises, there are there are three states, that is pending, fulfilled, and rejected. In pending, it says that it is pending is the initial state, the operation, that is the operation has not completed yet, and in fulfilled state the operation has completed successfully and the promise is resolved with a result rejected. And in the rejected state, as the name says that the promise is rejected, that means the operation has failed, the and the process is and the promise is rejected with an error. And why we use promises? We use promises for better readability, error handling, and chaining. We use promises in API calls, that is fetching data from a server, file operations, that is reading or writing a files asynchronously, in database operations, in time-based actions, etc. Here is a simple implementation code of a JavaScript. Here, fetch data functions. It creates a return promise. It creates a return promise. Inside the promise, a delay of 2 seconds is introduced using a set timeout. After 2 seconds, the promise is resolved and it returns a output, that is data received. If there was an error occurred during the operation, then reject is called instead of resolve. So in promise, the first argument is resolved and rejected. The promise is successfully executed, then we receive, when then the output will be data received, or else if the promise is rejected, then the error will be occurred. And coming to this function, promise data, it takes the data fetched by the promise as its arguments and display the output along with the processing and processing colon data received to the console. And coming to this fetch data, it is called, which returns a promise, and dot then process data. Once the process dot then once the process is resolved, the process data function is called with the resolved value. If the promise is rejected, then dot catch block handle the error. So in simple way, we can say that the fetch data is called, it returns a promise and starts the asynchronous operations. The timer is set for 2 seconds, so that it will delay for 2 seconds. In these 2 seconds, after the 2 seconds, the promise is resolved, and then it calls the process data function and it displays its output in console. And if there was any error occurred, then dot catch would handle it. If there is no error, then the output will be displayed on the console. Now let's try to execute this code. So after first it executes the second function, that is process data, because the fetch data waits for 2 seconds, and after in this time this process data function executes asynchronously, and if fetch data fulfill its promise, then it will display the output, that is data received. If not, error will be occurred. And the next topic is async await. Async and await in JavaScript is used for handling asynchronous operations in a more readable way when compared to traditional promise-based or callback-based approaches. In async, declaring a function as async makes it returns a promise. Inside async function, we can use await, but in await pauses the execution of async function until the promise is resolved or rejected. It helps with this asynchronous code that looks synchronous. And here is the simple code which we use async and await. It simulates fetching data from source with a delay of 2 seconds. It returns a new promises. Here we used a set timeout to introduce a delay of 2000 milliseconds, that is 2 seconds. After 2 seconds, the resolve callback is invoked with the value data received. If any error occurred, the reject function could be used to pass the error. Coming to this process data function, it asynchronously fetches and process data using fetch data function. It is declared as async to enable the use of await. Uses await to wait for fetch data function to resolve. If fetch data resolves, its result is stored in the data. and data in the data variable, and it will be displayed in our console. The try and catch block is used to handle any potential errors, like if any promises were rejected or any error occurred. And finally, here I call a process data function. It is invoked when the process data function is invoked and its execution begins. Inside process data, it waits for fetch data to complete its 2 seconds. When the promise is resolved, when the promise is resolved, then the output will be appeared in the console. In this way, async and wait works. Now I'm going to explain how the implementation of a to-do list using closures in JavaScript. As I mentioned before, a closure is nothing but a combination of a function and its lexical environment. Inner function can access variables from their outer function even after the outer function has been executed. And in this implementation of to-do list, I used closures. So let me explain this code. Here first I defined a create to-do list function. In this function, I create a to-dos array. It is a private array that holds the task and their statuses. The function returns an object containing methods to manage the to-do list. And here I used a certain functions, each method and a methods, and here I created a methods. Each method interacts with the to-dos array and form a closure over it. Let's look at these methods in detail. And here I used add method. Add method is nothing but adding a task to the to-dos array. That is, the task here it takes two arguments. The task argument is a description of the task, and the completed is nothing but a boolean indicating if the task is completed or not. By default, here I set it as a false, that is not completed it. And the next method is remove. It is used to removing a task. It removes a task from the to-dos array. It uses the filter method to create a new array excluding the task to be removed. And the next is mark complete method. Mark complete method, it is used to find the task the to-dos arrays using find method. If the task exists, set it is as a completed property to true. And the next method is get pending method. In this, it filters the to-dos array to return only the tasks that are not completed, that are still in pending. And the next method is get completed. Uh, it filters the to-dos arrays to return only the tasks that are completed. And the last method is display to do. It maps over the to-dos array to format each task with its status as indicator. Here I used two indicators for completed task and for pending task. The cross indicator is used it uses to mark for completed task, and the empty braces is used to for a pending task. It joins the task with a single string for display. Here I creates a new to-do list. It creates a new to-do list calling the create to-do list function. Now the to-do array is now private to my to-do list, and only the provided methods can only manipulate to it, and no other methods are able to manipulate my to-do array because it's a private list. And coming to these operations, my to-do list add it is used to add tasks to the my to-dos array. That is, here I added 3 tasks to the array, and after that I used mark complete method to complete the task, which is complete homework. I mark the complete homework task as completed, and I remove the task that is going to gym, and I display all the remaining tasks that are completed. In this way, we are able to implement a to-do list using closures in JavaScript. Let's execute the code. here is the output of this code. In this way, we can implement a tool list using closures.